Hello, hello. Welcome to the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner. And I have a very special guest that I will introduce in just a moment. But for now, watch this. Welcome to the Happy Hour Show with Lindsey Vertner. And I'm just going to jump right in and introduce my very first guest, the amazing, the phenomenal Dr. Cheryl Wood. And if you don't know her, you best to get your life together and get to know her. She is an international empowerment speaker. Y'all, she's been hired by NASA, the FBI, the United Nations. Like, that speaks to how powerful and phenomenal she is. She is a master speaker development coach. She equips women with the tools to unleash the power of their voice and share the impact of their story. Dr. Wood has trained countless women leaders across the U.S. and abroad in South Africa, India, France, the United Kingdom, and Canada, and the Bahamas. She empowers women to get out of their comfort zone, take calculated risk, and create a living legacy. Is that not phenomenal or no? Welcome to the Happy Hour Show. Dr. Cheryl Wood, how are you?
Phenomenal and fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So I know that I just ran down a few of your accolades. You got so many, you could probably fit them all in a book of their own. But why don't you tell our viewers, who is Dr. Cheryl really? Who are you as a person?
I always like to give the personal side. So I am a wife. My husband and I just celebrated 13 years of marriage. We still like each other. Amen to that. And we have 3 beautiful children. So I cannot believe I have 2 teenagers and a tween. I have a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So life is very interesting right now. On the professional front, I'm a passionate woman who is committed and determined to live the life of my dreams and not to let anyone or anything stop me from doing that. So I'm very tenacious. I'm a go-getter. I have a whole lot of energy. People often ask me, Dr. Wood, when do you sleep? And I'm like, child, I'll get to that. But I believe in going after what you want because nobody's just going to hand it to you.
Right. One thing that you always say, which that was a perfect lead up, is that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you demand, right?
Yes.
And I love it. What is something that you've demanded in your life?
Wow. I've demanded that the world take notice of me and that the world hear my voice. Just 10 years ago, and I say just 10 years ago because 10 years, sometimes it seems like a long time, but when you're grinding for something, it's like, man, this happened. Like, it seemed like it happened right away, but it's been 10 years in the making. I was sitting behind a desk in corporate America, working as a legal secretary in a law firm and really pressing mute on my own voice. And now over the course of 10 years, I've demanded that the world pay attention to what I have to say. I've demanded that the world know that I have a core message, that I want to touch women's lives and remind them of the power of their own voice and their stories. And I've demanded that by showing up, speaking up, following up. It's kind of like a 3-part formula that I have: show up, speak up, and follow up. And I just have done that consistently over the past 10 years. And that's what has allowed me to go places like South Africa and share my voice. Go to places like Paris, France last year, where I hosted my first International Women's Conference to touch the lives of women there in Paris. And the list goes on and on. So my demanding has simply been through showing up and speaking up so that people know I have something important to say.
Nice. So what would you say was that significant moment where you decided, y'all not gonna mute me anymore?
Man, I mean, there have been a lot of pivotal moments, but I would probably say the tipping point for me was in 2009. My father actually passed away on Thanksgiving morning. That was like the first call that I got that morning when I'm getting ready to celebrate with family and go and visit him and my grandmother and my aunts and uncles. The first call I got was that he passed away of a massive heart attack in his sleep. He was only 59 years young. And for me, it was such a reminder that, you know what, if you're going to make the world hear your voice, if you're going to touch lives, if you're going to leave a legacy and leave your unique fingerprint on other people's lives, you'd better do it now because your tomorrow is never promised. For me, that it just accelerated things. I'd already started on my grind, but losing my father was the catalyst for me going all the way in, not just having like one foot in, but having both feet in and being really tenacious about it and committed to it.
Nice. And that's crazy. You had to make that intentional choice to turn your pain into your purpose. And what would you say is a fear that you had to overcome in doing that?
Fear of not being good enough. Fear of, being rejected because people would feel like I wasn't good enough. So when you come from a background like I did, which was a background of poverty, and you watch your mother struggle as a single parent, raising 3 kids and barely able to put food on the table. And then you finally come out of that environment. You don't go off for college. So now you don't have letters behind your name. And now corporate America tells you you're not good enough because you don't have any letters behind your name. And so they keep you stuck at a certain position, which for me was that legal secretary position. It's a constant replay to say, oh, you're not good enough to be a giant in the world. You're not good enough to be a leader or an influencer. And when you hear that enough, you start to believe it. Like, you don't even have control over that. That's just how your subconscious mind works. Whatever you tell it repeatedly, that is the thing it's going to believe. So for me, it was fear of really knowing and learning and embracing that I am good enough just as I am, that I am capable, I am worthy, and that somebody somewhere is waiting on what I know, and they're waiting on it right now, and they will be willing to invest in it right now. Because for as long as I had a fear of not being good enough, that was directly going to hinder and impact my level of profitability as a business owner.
Say that again.
So as long as I stayed in a place of fear that I wasn't good enough, that was always going to negatively hinder my level of profitability in my business. Because if you don't think you're good enough, number one, you're not going to show up consistently. Right. Number two, you're not going to charge what you're worth. Number three, you're not going to have negotiation skills. And it just becomes this trickle down domino effect that always impacts your bottom line. But the moment you decide, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, I am enough, I'm capable, I'm worthy, just as I am, without another degree, without a degree, with all the stuff I feel like I'm lacking. Oh my God, when you believe it, guess what? So will everybody else. But so many of us as women entrepreneurs, we don't believe it, so nobody else believes it. And that's why you're not selling your services and your products.
Right. That is so true. I hope y'all caught all those gems. Put I am good enough in the comments. Let us know that you are here. If you have any questions, drop those in the comments as well. They may get answered live. I'm going to be real with y'all. They probably won't because you should have submitted them earlier, but do it anyway. But that is so true. The things that we think in our mind, they become our reality. So that's why I always say that you have to be intentional about the thoughts that you are thinking. You have to be intentional about the things you are speaking over your life, because the things you think become your reality. Mm-hmm. And that's what you create. So then at the end of the day, you have you to blame for the life that you have created for yourself. You have to stop living for everybody else and live for yourself and decide what is it that you want for your life and then execute just like you did.
And it's not easy. Like, we don't want to throw it out there like, oh yeah, just make a decision and just go ahead and do it. Like, no. Let me be clear. There's been a whole lot of self-work I've had to do to get to this Dr. Cheryl Wood, the confident Dr. Cheryl Wood, who says, God, I belong here because I've put in the work. I've paid my dues. I've done the self-work. I've invested in myself, right? So no, it's not easy. No, it's not going to be quick. It's not going to be overnight. This is going to be a process. But the question is, what else you got to do? If you're not working on creating this life that you're in love with, what else are you doing with your life? So for me, I want to wake up every day and I want to feel so excited and energized about what I get to do, because I know I'm leaving my fingerprint, Lindsey. I know I'm leaving my fingerprint on somebody every time I open my mouth. Every time I do what I was born to do, which for me was I'm born to speak. Every time I do that thing that has been gifted to me, I didn't give it to myself, God gave it to me. And every time I'm intentional about showing up and using it, it blesses someone else, which means my fingerprint just touched somebody else's life. And that fingerprint, if you know, when that fingerprint is on something, somebody can come back 6 months later and dust and the fingerprint's still there.
Yes.
Right? So that's how we want to be with our gift that we're pouring out into the world. Touch someone with it. Your fingerprint is the thing that's not going to go away. It's not going to change. Once somebody's been impacted by what you know, what you share, your story, your gift, that's transformation in itself.
I love that. I love that. You have to touch someone with your gifts and you leave that fingerprint. It stays with them forever. Are y'all catching these gems, honey? I hope you are, because Dr. Cheryl is phenomenal and she is giving you these nuggets for the free 99. Okay. I hope y'all are taking notes. If not, make sure you come back and watch the replay. Okay. So in just working through everything that you had to go through, what would you say are some of the hidden obstacles, apart from those inner limiting beliefs of not feeling good enough and fear of failure? What are some other hidden obstacles that may not be easily recognizable?
I think sometimes it's our money conversation. And a lot of us don't know why we're struggling financially in our business. But it's because of the money conversation that you're having that you don't even know you're having. So for me, I had to realize that I was actually addicted to financial struggle. I was addicted to financial struggle. But what I didn't know is that came from way back in my past as a young girl, when I watched my mother work so diligently every day. My mother worked as a manager of a school cafeteria for Baltimore City Public Schools for 25 years. I watched her go to work every day. She never took a day off. I mean, hardest working woman I've ever seen, right? But she still could barely put food on the table. Wow. Based on the salary that she had. We had to be on government assistance. I used to hate when we got those darn food stamps. And it wasn't like now where I think they give them like a card. It was a food stamp. And I would be hiding in line, hoping none of my friends at school saw me getting in line, getting groceries, paying with food stamp, right? Like there was a level of embarrassment with that. But my mother was doing the best that she could do. What she had. And for me, it was watching my mother rob Peter to pay Paul and have such a pride about it when she was able to do it successfully. So because I watched that for so long, when I grew up, I started repeating that same vicious cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. Even though I was making more money than her, I still was addicted to financial struggle. So I would find so much pride in, oh, shucks, I kept the lights on this week. Oh, shucks, I took a little bit from here and put it over there, and that's not going to get turned off. It was literally like an addiction because of what I watched growing up. And I had to, when I came into business, I had to disconnect from that money conversation and that belief that I couldn't be in a space of abundance where I would never have to rob Peter to pay Paul. I would always be able to pay Peter his amount, Paul his amount, Susie her amount, and anybody else what I owed them. And that took time. That took me peeling back the layers of why I was addicted to financial struggle, and then replacing it with new beliefs.
Yes, yes. Sabrina says, boom. Yes. Alexandra says 100, and generational cycles, right? You had to make intentional choice to break those generational cycles. And a lot of times we have not a lot of times, all the time, we have our subconscious beliefs that is driving our behaviors and keeping us in these toxic life cycles. And so again, that goes right back to, you have to be intentional for what you want for your life so that you can start to make the changes that you want to have in your life and for those that are all around you. I love that. I love that. So I would like to take a quick little break, and I hope all of you viewers have brought your cups, because it is the time of the show where we find out what's in your cup. Okay.
What's in your cup?
Did y'all grab y'all drink? Y'all should have grabbed your drink and joined the chat. So I have my signature. Hello. I don't have my glasses on today, but Anybody want to take a couple guesses what we're sipping on? What we're sipping on? Yeah, no. Anybody? Let's see. Let me go over here to the comments. I forgot I got to scroll back and forth. Okay, Alexandra's about to go make her cup. Make it good. Make it good. So tell us, Dr. Cheryl, what is in your cup?
So what's in my cup is some good old cognac. No, I'm just joking. I want to pretend it's something real good. I'm kind of boring. So my drink is actually decaf black tea. It is my favorite. I probably drink 4 or 5 cups a day. Like that's what I sip on all day long as I'm working or so mine is it's Lipton black tea. And it's decaf. Now, what I would love to do is I think I'm going to venture out and find some fancy black tea that's not too strong, because I don't like it to be too strong, but I'm not a fan of like flavored teas. So that's what I'm drinking on.
Nice. So what I have in my cup, I was trying to decide, did I want to do a little flavor or keep it kosher? And so I went in the middle and I've got some frosé. It's that frozen rosé. It comes in like a little package, then you put it in the freezer. Yes, it's melted since then, so it's liquid right now. It's not frozen anymore, but I see everybody's got their drinks here. Chastity's got her hot tea. Let's see, Wilmanisha's got some green tea. I see we got a lot of tea drinkers on the show tonight. Yes. We got some hot chocolate in the summertime. Your house must be cold. The AC hot and on. Lenny's got peppermint.
Oh, peppermint tea sounds good.
You want to know what you can put in peppermint tea? Horchata or rum chata. Horchata is the generic version of rum chata. So if you're on a budget, you could use that one. Okay, so let's get back to it. So you have your family and you have your business and you travel all over the world. I know right now you can't travel much with COVID-19, but just tell us, how do you find the time to balance all of the different roles you play? Because you're a CEO and you are a bad boss, okay? So how do you find the time to balance it all?
Okay, so sometimes I have issues with the word balance. And I prefer to call it like harmony, creating harmony between your life and your business. And so for me, I had to acknowledge that I'm never going to be able to be 100% to everything in my life and my business at the same time. That is never going to happen. So instead, what I attempt to do is to be present with whatever's happening in that moment. So if I'm doing business, then I'm doing business. And my family knows, like when I'm really into my business, they could be talking to me. I don't hear nothing they say. Like it just goes right over my head. And they're like, huh, mommy? And I'm like, what? You asked me a question? Because I'm in it. So I'm giving the best of me to whatever that thing is that I'm pursuing in that moment. On the other hand of that, if it's family, I've gotten a lot better at putting my phone in my purse, turning the phone off, whatever it is, turning the volume off so that I can pay attention to my family. If we cracking crabs, let's crack crabs. If we at the party, let's go to the party. So I think it's just having harmony where everybody understands that I'm one person. I can't do everything at one time, and nobody should expect me to do everything at one time. But if I say I'm doing business, I'm going to give that 100%. If I'm doing family life, I'm going to give that 100%. So whatever's happening in that moment is what gets the best of me. And also the other thing for me is like allocating time.
Mhm.
So for me on Sundays, that's like my family day. That's my chill day, my self-care day, and it's my family day. And so I give myself permission to sleep in late. I give myself permission to have a couple naps throughout the day. I give myself permission to go get some crabs and crack on some crabs. If that's whatever I'm feeling, I don't want to have obligation to anybody because I typically have obligations Monday, every day of the week. So on Sunday, I let my kids know, my husband know, look, whatever I want is what I'm going to do on Sundays. And they respect that. Now, every once in a blue moon, there might be something that comes up. Maybe my daughter who's 15, she has her own business and maybe she has a client and I have to drive her to that client. Now I will do that. I will sacrifice, but I let them know, do not make this a habit. Sundays is mommy's day.
I love, love, love that you make it known that Sunday is mommy day because self-care is not selfish. You have to prioritize self-care in your life. If you don't, it starts to affect your mental and emotional health, which overflows to your physical health. If you are walking around and you snapping at everybody, you're irritable, you're moody, if you having sleep problems, all of that can be traced back to your lack of self-care. So we often don't give enough weight to self-care. So I love that you are doing that. And
can I say one more thing? Can I add one more thing to that?
Oh, yeah.
The last thing I wanted to add is, guess what? It's also okay to order pizza and not cook dinner for your family. Like, I don't know where we as women get this thing where we got to always have the big S on our chest. We always got to be superwoman. No, you do not have to be superwoman. If you worked on a big project all night and you were up to 3 a.m. and then you got back up early the next morning because you had some virtual events or virtual conference or whatever, and now you find yourself and you're working and it's 6 p.m. the next day, and the kids looking for dinner and you haven't had time to go to the grocery store and neither do you have the energy. Guess what? It is great to have one of the pizza places on speed dial. And to be okay with it without guilt. It is okay to have some dishes in the sink without guilt. Or if somebody don't like it, tell them to wash the dishes so you don't have to do it, right? So it's okay for us to do some things that allow us to stay in our fullest capacity of how we want to serve the world without having guilt attached to it. Oh, I didn't cook dinner for my kids. Oh, I didn't wash the dishes in the sink. Oh, I didn't. Guess what? If it bothers people in the house that much, they'll do something about it. Otherwise, you'll get to it.
Right. I hope y'all are listening to that because I know that there are a lot of female viewers. And like she said, we take it all up on ourselves and then we beat ourselves up because we weren't perfect. We didn't get everything done on the checklist. But you have to allow yourself grace and know that it'll be there tomorrow. It's okay you didn't cook. It's okay that the dishes sat for one night. Don't let them sit all month now. But
right. But some of us are addicted to being praised for being overwhelmed. Some of us are addicted to being praised for being overwhelmed. Oh, whoo, man, I've done so much today. Whoo, I'm just exhausted. Why? Because you wouldn't say no to somebody? Because you weren't willing to remove some things off your plate so that you could have greater self-care? So we do not have to, some of us have to step back from that place of, oh my God, I get celebrated when I overwhelm myself. And some of us need to just ask for help. We need to be like, look, stop the presses. Mommy's tired. So I need, hubby, I need you to drop the kids off, or kids, I need y'all to get downstairs and wash your own clothes today. Like, it's okay for you to ask for help. It's okay for you not to do everything. It's okay to say, I need a break. I need support. And it's okay for you not to be a martyr, if you will, just for the sake of, oh, it looks good. Because you don't get no gold stars and you don't get no extra money in your business for being overwhelmed while you're trying to build your business and take care of your responsibilities.
I feel like we need to pass the offering plate around. Who got the virtual offering plate? What you put in? What you put in? Yes. Because that can be a self-sabotaging task all of its own. Just having that sense of I gotta do this and do this and do this, and then you're wondering like why you're so exhausted and drained all the time. It's like those toxic life cycles that we have to break ourselves free from, but we have to be intentional about leaving them behind and doing something different in our life. I love that you said that. My husband actually ordered pizza. So at 8 o'clock today, he was like, so you're going to start cooking before your lab? I said, no, I'm about to get ready for my first show. You can call and order a pizza.
And they will be okay. And the kids will love you for that pizza. They will love you.
I was not playing no games with them. None at all. So Alexandra says that part is hard for a single mom. So do you have any advice out there for maybe those that don't have that significant other that they can turn to for help, or maybe they live far away from family?
Yeah. So a couple things I want to say to that. Number one is just because you married don't mean you're getting a whole lot of help. What I can tell you is I don't care if you married or single, 90% of motherhood, 90% of parenthood is still on the mother. So let me just be clear. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's that 2.25% that we ask for help and we get help. Okay, so that's one thing. The second part of that is I was actually raised by a single parent, and my sister, my twin sister, I was a part of her journey as she raised two boys as a single mom. And what I have to say is you've got to build a strong community. That's number one. Build a solid community. I don't care if that community consists of 2 other moms or 3 other moms. Almost like, the moms club where you support each other, because you should never be doing it on your own. Now, if you're blessed to have family, that's great. If you're blessed to have some friends, but if you're not blessed to have family and friends nearby, then you have to be intentional, there's your word, about seeking out the support and really building camaraderie with other people that you feel like you like, and you trust, so that you all can support each other on your journey as single moms. And then I think the other thing is you still get to boundaries even as a single mother. Mm-hmm. Because I find a lot of times that single moms will overcompensate for the fact that there's not another parent in the household, right? Mm-hmm. So now they try to do everything to the kid, do everything for the kid, be everything. You try to be mama, you try to be daddy, you try to be everything, give them everything. So guess what? You can step back for a moment and you can still create boundaries and say, hey, look, son or look, daughter, mommy sometimes get overwhelmed. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to incorporate a mommy day or a mommy hour. Okay, so maybe it's not even a whole day. Maybe it's just an hour. We're going to incorporate a mommy hour, right? A mommy hour once a day or twice a week. And these are dates. So look, here, son, here, daughter, I'm putting it on the calendar. And whenever you see this big red circle, or you see my sign on that's mommy's time, so that mommy can keep being the best mommy possible for you. So it's still about you claiming ownership of your own life by setting boundaries in place that support you in being the best mother.
I love that. I love that. Especially since you mentioned that just because you're married doesn't necessarily mean that you have the help, because I snap my fingers. And so let me clarify. I don't want y'all thinking things is crazy, because I am very, very grateful for my husband and the way that he helps with the children, and he'll help out around the house. But we weren't always there. We didn't start like that in our marriage. It took some work, because his ideal of helping and providing was him going to work and bringing home that check, and that was his idea. So like he would help every now and then, but we had to have that talk and we had to work through it. Like, wait, we're both going to work. We both got to help around the house. We both got to help with the kids. Otherwise, I'm exhausted on the other end. Yep. So we had to work up to that. And there were a lot of past relationships and that, I brought those issues into our relationship. And so boundaries are important, right? With everybody that you are in contact with your significant other, with your children, with your clients, your family, your mama, your daddy, everybody needs a boundary. So how would you say that you have created boundaries with the toxic people in your life?
Oh,
no
I hit delete. I hit delete, unfriend, block. Those are my three favorite things.
Delete, unfriend.
Delete, unfriend, and block. And it might be virtual or it might be in real life. You either gonna get deleted, unfriended, or blocked. And look, one thing I don't play with. Still hearing me?
Yes.
Okay, good. You do not have permission to interrupt my peace on this journey. You do not have permission to interrupt my peace on this journey. So I'm very clear that I have to be surrounded by positive people. I'm very clear based on my energy and what brings out the best in me. I cannot allow myself to be around people who have toxic thinking, toxic speech. Everything they say is negative. It's always the downside, not the bright side. I cannot do it. And so my circle is very small, very, very small. And those people who are in that circle understand you can be put out of the circle. It is not permanent. You want to stay in this little circle of trust? Okay, you better get your mind right. And if you feeling some kind of way, get that out of your system before you come over here. So for me, it's really paying close attention to that and making sure that people who are in my space honor that. And here's the thing I also have been willing to do. I've been willing to surrender and release relationships that were only meant for a season. Mm-hmm. Because there have been some relationships that I thought were going to be great relationships that I thought were adding value to me. That I was super excited to have some girlfriends because I've really never been that person to have a whole lot of girlfriends. So when I came in business, I'm like, yes. But some people only holding on for what they can get. Some people are only holding on so that they can tap into your network. Some people are only holding on because they think it's something they want to take. They don't want to give, they want to take. And it took me a lot to identify that and identify that was toxic for me because it would press down on my spirit. And if I have something pressing down and weighing down on my spirit, I cannot perform at my highest capacity for the thing that I say God has assigned me to do on this earth. So I cannot allow those people to stay in. So I've learned how to release relationships, surrender, because sometimes God is like, look, I already knew that relationship was for a season. You thought it was for a lifetime, but I knew it was for a season. And then when he tries to remove you from the relationship, you holding on for dear life. Oh God, no, I don't want that person to go. I thought we were going to be connected forever. And God like, look at you. God is like shaking his head like, I'm trying to usher you into the next season, but you're too busy holding on to last season.
Right.
So I had to learn how to release people who God said were only intended to be for a season.
I love that. Did you catch those 50 gems that she dropped? Sometimes God is trying to usher you into the next season, but you won't let go of your past season. Yep. And that's crazy because I just came across a quote from Lisa Nichols that says, sometimes we can't show up for our future because we're too busy holding on to the past, that our future can't fit in because we won't let go of the past. And so that's right aligned with what you just said right there.
Like, that's like somebody, look, that's like walking out your house and you see somebody with Ugg boots on and it's July. You're like, what? You're like, what? What? That was supposed to be for last season and that was supposed to be in the wintertime. Why you still got those Uggs on? And that's how some of us are in relationships and connections. And we're just like, we're holding on. I'm gonna have this relationship a couple more weeks. And you looking at this a couple more months. And you looking at this a couple more years. And you wondering why your feet are still planted where they were. Because you did not release what you needed to release for God to usher you into the next season.
Yes. An analogy that just is right aligned with that is I like to think of it with elevators. Right? Like we're on the bottom floor of the elevator when we're born and the top floor is our passing day. And then we have those people that, sometimes they get on the first floor and they're riding up and we want them to go to the top with us, but maybe they were meant to get off on floor 10, but we don't want to let them go. And the whole time that we won't let them go, they're blocking the doors from closing. They're just standing there blocking the doors and you can't rise until you let them go and let them go out the door. That doesn't mean that they won't go up, but they just might be on a different elevator, maybe in a different building.
And it doesn't mean that you won't wave.
Right.
You wave. I'm still polite to people who I've released from my life. I'm kind. That's not going to change. Who I am doesn't change, right? So I'm still kind. I'm still loving. I'll still say hello. I'm still going to greet you, but you're not in my intimate, immediate circle because those people have an impact on my mindset, my thought processes, my beliefs, my behaviors, and my patterns. And again, you don't have permission to interrupt my peace on my journey.
Right. If your peace and your happiness cost me my peace and my happiness, then I can't afford you, right? You
Bye,
are
Felicia.
expensive.
Bye, Felicia. Bye.
We will see you later. So I hope you guys are loving this. Be sure to comment, love, share this episode out. This is season 1, episode 1 of the Happy Hour Show with my very special guest, Dr. Cheryl Wood. She is phenomenal, as you have seen for yourself. And we have another fun segment to do for you guys. So
30-second hot shot.
It's time
30-second hot shot.
of the show where Dr. Cheryl Wood will answer your questions. So hopefully you submitted some beforehand. Yes. That's what you get for procrastinating. But let me get my timer. Dr. Cheryl has 30 seconds to answer each of these audience questions. All right, so I'm going to read the first one, and after I'm done reading it, then I will push the timer, okay? You ready?
All right.
Take
I'm
your
ready.
shot, girl. Take your shot. Y'all get it? Take a shot. All right. So Elena Brand says, what are your top 3 mantras or affirmations that you tell yourself every day? Go.
I am enough. I am capable. I am worthy, just as I am.
Ooh, 8 seconds, y'all. Y'all see what
That's
she
easy. That's an easy one. I say that every day. Every
I
day.
am enough.
I am capable. I am worthy, just as I am.
I am enough. I am capable. I am worthy, just as I am. Y'all put that in the chat. I am enough. I am capable. I am worthy, just as I am. Beautiful.
In fact, I have it on a button. I got it on a button too. Yeah, look.
How boss she is. She has her affirmations on a button. Yes. Hold a little closer up there for everybody to see. Yes. Y'all see that? Believe it. Take it in. Love it. Nice.
Sometimes I take these to events, live events, and I give them to people so they can remember.
Ooh, yes. Even better. Yep. So this next question, let me reset the timer, is from Chastity Wiederspan, and she says, what strategies have the most impact but are the most subtle? Go.
I mean, that's a loaded question. I don't know what that means. What strategies related to what? Success? Money? Speaking? What's the strategy?
We'll go with success.
What strategies are the most are the most what?
Have the most impact but are the most subtle.
Negotiating.
So the things we might overlook.
Negotiating.
Ooh, negotiating.
Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable, but most women don't like to talk about money and they don't like to negotiate. And because of that, they miss a big chunk of the money that they could get, the impact that they could make, the connections they could build, because they will not go into negotiation mode. They either take things as a yes or no, not anything in the middle. But in the middle is what we call negotiation. And when you're willing to negotiate, you get more opportunities and you'll make more money.
Yes. Y'all better take that. Don't settle for less than you deserve. And I see a lot of women that do that. Oh, well, he doesn't beat me, so I mean, it's good. Or this is not the position that I want, so I'll stick right here. And essentially you're settling, and then you're wondering 10, 20 years from now why you are unfulfilled in your life, right?
Yeah, or even business. Like, let's talk about business women, because I assume we have a lot of business women watching, right? Mm-hmm. So not negotiating is, oh, someone invites you to come speak and they tell you they can't pay you and you don't negotiate. Or they say this is, oh, well, we only have, you tell them what your speaker fee is, and they tell you how much they have. Well, you just say, okay, I'll take what you have, and you don't negotiate. Negotiation has to be a mandatory part of your business, or you're not going to grow. It has to be a mandatory part, not an optional part of your business.
Did y'all hear that? Negotiation has to be a mandatory part, not an optional part. Oh, y'all probably got a whole notebook full by now. If you don't, you ain't been paying attention.
Vanessa, can I get that button?
Yes. They want your button, honey. They want it. So, okay, we got one more question. And this one is from Victoria Prevost. And she says, how do you find your purpose? Go.
Oh, God, that's loaded too. I would say start with the thing that brings you the greatest sense of fulfillment, and allow yourself to be curious and allow yourself to explore. So you may not discover it right away with the very first thing that you start with. So when I started my journey 10 years ago, I actually started as a t-shirt business because I wanted to discover what my purpose was. And I believe a part of discovering your purpose will be through being in movement and in motion. So by me starting the t-shirt business, it started aligning me with the right people and the right opportunities that allowed me to discover that my purpose was actually speaking.
Nice. And y'all, she hit all of those in 30 seconds. All of them in 30 seconds. You got a lot of people that want that button. You got a lot of ladies that want that button.
Buttons out. Yeah, we have to send these buttons out for sure.
Yeah, you're going to have to put them on your site. She sells the buttons for $5. I don't know if she does. She will make them $5. Awesome. So tell us what you have going on right now. What can we look forward to seeing from Dr. Cheryl Wood?
So the biggest things that are happening right now in my journey are, number one, I have my vocalized women speaker certification program, which I'm in love with, which Lindsey is actually one of my inaugural members. Yes. And so I am looking forward to these final 5 months of that program. I cannot believe in 5 months we will have been together for 12 months, for a full year. And we will actually be planning their graduation and really watching them implement all the things that they're learning is just holds a special place in my heart. There's one thing to encourage and empower, which is what I'm a guru at. Hello, Cheryl Howard, right? But it's another thing to actually create programs that give people the tools they need so that they can execute and create the life that they want. So for me, that's a big deal. And for me, certification is a big deal. So I don't take it lightly. So Lindsey will tell you, it's somewhat of a rigorous process. We have these long sessions. We have homework. Yeah, and she loves them. She's always up and ready for them. So they have to do the work to be able to say, this is what I want to do. And so that's going very well. I love everything about it. And I'm looking forward to continuing that and certifying as many women speakers as possible, because like you said, I travel all over the world, and a lot of the platforms I go to, there are no women on the stage. It's all men, or we're such a low percentage. And then you add to that Black women, like it's even a lower percentage. So I want to see more women dominating stages, and I want to see more Black women also dominating stages. And then the second thing is that, again, and Lindsey is a part of this as well, that I recently launched a new membership platform called the EE Squad.
Stand up.
And it is mind-blowing. And it's a monthly membership that brings together women entrepreneurs who are passionate, who are ambitious, and who understand the rule that if I try to do it on my own, I will only get so far. That you need community. You should never be on your entrepreneurial journey all by your lonesome, all by yourself, talking about I'm lonely, I don't have nobody to talk to, I don't have nobody to bounce ideas off of. That's craziness. So you need to find the community that supports you, that celebrates you, that accelerates you, that elevates you, and that holds your feet to the fire for doing what you say you want to do. So accountability is a big part of this community. So again, it's called Elevation Entourage, but you will see us referring to ourselves as the EE Squad, #EE Squad. We just launched 31 days ago, and we already have 260 women 260 members who are in the group. It's all women. And there are 3 core rules that we go by in the community. No excuses, no comparison, and no mean girls. That's what we ain't gonna do. And it is such a beautiful place of camaraderie and celebration and resources. So every month we're doing a monthly training session with myself. We just did a huge expert session, which was a surprise for the community, with Lisa Nichols, which is amazing. It was so good. She's coming back. Yes, it was so good. She's coming back for part 2 in August. And we have some other phenomenal experts who are lined up. We had Marquell Russell, who talked about all things marketing, Lena Ware, who talked about all the back end stuff for your virtual events and your live events. So it's been so juicy in the first 30 days. I'm like, okay, God, give me what I need to keep up with this level of momentum, because it is fire. So those are the 2 big things that I'm really working on right now.
Yes, awesome. And actually, we have a link for you ladies to join the EE Squad right there. If you want to join the Elevation Entourage, go to bit.ly/EE Squad. Squad up! We don't put the squad up part. I just threw that in there. But
we're working on our sorority call.
Right. We need a whole dance and a move and everything for whenever we have a get together. Oh, did you hear that? When we have a get together, when we have a meetup, an EE Squad meetup.
That's all that's happening. Oh, just wait. All of that's happening. Yes.
Yes, I love it. So I have to ask you the signature question. Anybody that follows me knows that I'm all about happiness. This is the happy hour show. So it's only right that we find out, how do you intentionally create happiness in your life? Because happiness is a choice. Just like being miserable is a choice. As I always say, it takes the same amount of energy to be miserable as it does to be happy. So choose wisely. So, Dr. Cheryl Wood, how do you intentionally create happiness in your life?
For me, it's pretty simple. And that is giving myself permission to divorce the things that no longer serve me well. And that's at any season in my journey. If it's something that no longer serves me well, I don't care what it did for me 6 months ago. Maybe it was the right thing for me a year ago. But if it no longer serves me well and no longer adds value to me, I give myself permission to divorce the things that no longer serve me well.
Yes.
That's how I stay happy.
I love that. Give yourself permission to divorce the things that no longer serve you well, whether that was a month ago, a year ago, or 2 seconds ago.
Exactly.
Yes. So I know that you have a freebie for our viewers. You want to tell them what that is?
Yes. So I put together this amazing list, if you will, resource, if you will, of 28 power tips for hosting a seamless webinar. And I put that together because a lot of the clients that I serve are women entrepreneurs, they're coaches, speakers, and authors. And we've had to pivot and transition to this digital space, which I think is going to last for a little bit longer, because we're already seeing kind of the results of some states opening back up. We're having like a relapse and a second occurrence of COVID. So I think we'll be in our houses for a little bit longer than we expected. And so it's important that we are able to leverage virtual platforms to still touch lives, have that fingerprint, and also generate revenue. But there are certain things that you need to be doing when you're doing those virtual events. And so I put that together in a beautiful resource. And so all you have to do is text the word webinars to the number 313131, and it will come directly to you.
Nice. So webinars to 313131. Text it right now so that you can get your freebie. And y'all, make sure y'all join the Elevation Entourage. Hashtag, look, I can't talk. It's my prose. Hashtag EE Squad. The link is right there. Both of those are in the caption. Well, I will add them to the caption so that you can get your webinar. You can join the EE Squad. You'll find me in there. You'll find so many amazing women in there. Get connected, build that community, find your people. Because remember, you are the average sum of the 5 people you hang around with most. So if 5 of your friends is miserable, you
Yeah.
can best believe you the 6th miserable friend, okay?
Yeah. If 5 of them broke, you're gonna be number 6 that's broke.
Right? But y'all don't want to have that conversation right now. So this has been a great, great evening. I am honored for you to be my very first guest on the Happy Hour show. Let's see, we got a few more comments. Lynn says, hot fire. Yes.
Hey.
Carol is, I definitely want that. Just got mine. Text the number 313131. Miss Kamika is in there. She is part of the EE squad.
Yes.
Yes.
Squad. And it's webinars. You got to put an S on the end of webinars. So it's webinars, plural, 313.
With an S. Webinars.
Yes, look at Lavette. Yeah, come on, Lavette. EE squad in the building.
Listen, y'all, Lavette is my new soul sister who I met through the EE squad.
Oh,
we connected on the phone. We were supposed to be 15, 30 minutes. We was on there probably 2 hours talking. I love me some Lavette Ashley Williams, y'all.
I love it. Leona Carter's in the building. Hey.
Yes.
I can see it when Lindsey puts up the name. So thank you for being here with us. That's awesome.
Yes, we appreciate you. And listen, this is just episode 1 of season 1, y'all. I am honored for you guys to be here with us tonight. I am truly, truly appreciate it because I know that you can be doing so many other things. You could be watching so many other people. You could be watching Netflix. You could be sleeping. You could be reading. But you are here with me, and I appreciate you. I am grateful for you, and I do not take that lightly. So make sure that you tune in every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern so that you can catch more episodes of the Happy Hour show with Lindsey Vertner. I have a lot of heavy hitters lined up for season 1. It has filled up so quickly, and I am grateful for that. And it's all for you. It is all for you to empower you and motivate and inspire you. And we're going to have a good time while we do it. So make sure that if you want to stay updated on all things the Happy Hour show, on new episodes or maybe special airings, then right down there, you see the link, bit.ly Happy Updates is where you can go to sign up to make sure that you are staying up to date on all things the Happy Hour. Or, sometimes my guests might have exclusive Happy Hour specials for the viewers, but only if you sign up for the update. So those won't be aired during the show. So I thank you, ladies. Again, Dr. Cheryl, do you have any last word for our viewers and men? Not just ladies, men and women. Yes. Any final words for our viewers?
I think it's applicable and makes sense for me to close with the words of Maya Angelou, who said, "Pursue the thing you love doing and do it so well that people can't take their eyes off of you." And every one of you should have that thing that you just do so well, that you are touching lives in such a big way, that you are creating such transformation in the world, not just local, but global. So much so that people can't take their eyes off of you because you have touched their lives in such a phenomenal, unforgettable way. Every one of you has that thing. It is your responsibility to figure out what that is and then to show up every day ready to share that thing with the world.
Every day. That was perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here. I'm going to play the intro as the outro to take us out. Thank you again, Dr. Cheryl Wood. Make sure that you guys tune in next week as I will be having the wonderful and fantastic Bunny May as my guest. All right, y'all. Take y'all shot and grab a drink. Join the chat next week. We will see you later. Bring your cups. All right. Happy Hour Show. We are out.